Okay, I think this is live, and I want to start today's with this quote about creativity in the activities that you do. It says, to bring intelligence into activity, you don't need more information, you need more meditation. You need to become more silent. You need to become more thoughtless. You need to become less mind and more heart. And this is about when it's under the concept of just hit the play. Because when you have something and it's an activity that you want to do, when we go to our head, we get stuck. And when you're in our head, that play never plays. And that is the spirit of being unprepared. Because if you allow your thinking, you would like to gather more information. You would go after more information and gathering more information. But instead, if you become thoughtless in that sense, it becomes intelligent activity, according to this guy Osho, is that when you don't let your thoughts impact your activity or the action that you're taking. And that unpreparedness has two type of results. One, that is, oh, it is going something along the lines of this live cast. It is going. Nobody is here. And the idea for me was to create a two-way communication, right? But if I had to be in my head, this would have never happened, because a thinking mind says like, hey, you need to kind of promote this thing before you go live, specifically and especially if your idea is to have a two-way communication. But now that this is going and it's recording and it's streaming, hopefully, I'm going to check later, I see a new sets of problems that could have stopped me, but I'm coming to it from an angle of like, okay, how can I creatively, just by use of sheer creativity, not knowledge and not information, solve this ongoing live stream, and don't rely on thinking, because the thinking says like, okay, there's nobody, okay, you can just stop it next time, lesson learned, next time actually promote it and see if you can get 5 viewers so you can actually interact. But that type of thinking would have stopped me right now, or like, maybe 2 minutes earlier, and would have not done that. So now I may learn, now that I didn't, and I'm relying on creativity and just to see how can this go. As a behind the scene, you see the process, the benefit of just doing it for sake of doing it creatively and see what happens is that what happens if the live cast goes for half an hour? Maybe you encounter something that you could have never ever thought. And if you were relying on your thinking like, hey, the goal and the aim here in this live cast is that Ali wants to have a two-way conversation with people. No people, aim hasn't achieved. It's been few minutes and nobody has come to ask him anything. And that's exactly the title of his live cast. Ask Me Anything with Ali Mohebali. So why is he doing a monologue? It's a fame. We missed it. So let's stop it and see what's going to happen. So that might be some logical person from the above, the control room. Imagine if this was a network. Or it could be the control room of my head thinking that way. But in reality, I'm just gonna say like, hey, can I actually say something of value without thinking, and using the exact current situation of myself as an observation to show behind the scene of a process of how these things actually happen and what the raw version of it would be. Because I think that's really beneficial for people, well, a little bit like me, because there are many, many people that they use their own stories and their own background to give you across a type of idea and a solution. And if you find yourself that you belong somehow in so many ways to the same type of idea and you're encountering similar problem, you can learn from that. It doesn't have to be very specific or very detailed. And people who do it through storytelling is like, for example, the old school style of vlogging. Casey and Peter McKinnon, I talked about it. They have that like, oh, this happened. If you don't want this photography stuff happen to you, do this instead. I learned this lesson. So I was interested in photography. So I went and I followed and I learned a lot uh, by just watching Peter McKenna's photography vlogging about photography. It's like, oh, do you know if you want to boost your artistic composition, instead of bring it digital, just go shoot analog, because you actually really put some extra thoughts. So your shots, they gonna improve slowly and gradually. And then he was talking about like the related Japanese point of view. That's, what is it? Kaizen. Was he? I don't know, Peter McKinnon or not. But you see a same problem from a very relatable today's point of view, because and at the same time you're gonna see a moral of the story, and it could be applicable to you. And today's idea was that do stuff unprepared, in an unprepared way, and let your creativity fix the problem for you. Because the more that you do it, you may encounter new ideas, obstacles, and things that actually stops you from doing what you want to do. And for me, it was for a while to figure out this live cast. It could have easily been how it could have easily been, okay, learn lesson next time, promote it, have a topic, and find a better microphone situation, because I realized it's not long enough. It could have been longer because I like to move around. Sometimes I like to sit, and I would say like, oof, maybe we sit down and talk more about what's the problem that we could solve today. And today we're gonna focus a little bit on starting things for whatever reason. Sometimes starting things is something that we really, really want, but yet we don't do it. It's because we are stuck between two things. They use the analogy of the pedal on the gas and the pedal on the brake, and sometimes you don't know that you're actually purposefully pushing a pedal on the brake, and you don't even notice it, but you say like, oh, what I'm doing, I want to do this, so why I'm not doing anything or taking any steps towards it. It's like it drives you crazy, even sometimes drives me crazy. And it's because you never put yourself in a situation that some part of you might have a very strong reaction to it. So for example, let's say you want to record and go live, something like this. Use this as an example. And coming here unprepared would have been crazy. But actually the fact that nothing, that the stakes are lower, it's puts me at ease because I can improvise, and then later on whatever happens happens. It gets zero view, and that is part of the learning of it as well. Anyways, going back to this, yes, some parts of you wants to do something, but sometimes there is a part of you, reasoning, part of you, emotional needs, part of you, like your personality, that stops you from taking action on the things that you want. And you may know about it and you may be unaware of it. But that part is not necessarily bad. At one point, it served you, it helped you, and it stopped you from something that actually saved you in a way. So there is a benefit from these mixed bag of things that you are unaware of it and you do it and you participate in it, that stops you from doing the thing that you like. And this could be examined and notified. No, examined and modified. So sometimes we don't take action and we sell ourselves on the excuse that, oh, this is not the right timing, or I'm not ready yet, I am unprepared, what is the point of this? And you have all these excuses that are basically your excuses, and you just start having a this chuckling thing is a really good reaction. Anything, everything that happens, good, bad, you have to have this and then start reacting to it and analyzing it with your thinking. My opinion. It's like, this and this happened. Okay, now let's figure out what's the point of everything. So I'm just saying, using the creativity, you can discover areas that your thinking stops you from exploring and searching, because thinking is very, very linear. Always the thinking, it could be multi-threaded, but the thinking itself is always linear. You follow one line of thought. You may have create extra imagery along this line that you travel, just like a kite that has like bunch of tails, ruffles. You add where, but your line of thought is just like the kite. You have a connection to the flying kite, and those ruffles are the details that happens and that captures the thought, aka in our case the kite in the sky, with that very, very unique detail of the ruffles in that exact moment of time. That's exact. Oof, that's what's up. And this linear thinking of thought is not very in nature. We don't have that many linear thinking. So linear thinking might stop you at the moment that you could have easily overcame and go with the flow further, because it could have solved itself. So linear thinking allows you to eject faster, because this step, like if you go linear from 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 steps, if you fail at level 3, step 3, you can say, oh, okay, stop, let's go fix this. And then you start 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 was hard, but you at 6 you start to lose your momentum, and at 7 you had to stop, and then you're gonna spend time following the 7. But this is same thing that people who improvise, musicians who improvise, do the same thing. They have a take and There are times that the improvisation goes amazingly well, and sometimes it's not so much. But it is in the moment that you create something, and sometimes really, really interesting and powerful. And that's why when you allow creativity to not go in a very linear direction of our thinking, so instead of going like that, black to white, so say like from that line dark to white and that corner, that's how our thinking goes. And if we stop here at the edge between gray and white, and we could do like, and maybe we surpass, you know. But it keeps the loop going. It might go really bad, it might go really good, it could be exaggerated this way, exaggerated that way, less represented, less overly saturated, high intensity, low intensity, and then there will be more findings. This is how that would be the linear thinking. It's like easier to stop yourself. And then with the creative thinking, in one go, in one try, you find new parameters and you add it to your list of refining. Because, for example, I should connect this, but for example, you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, steps linearly going, but then you have 6 points. It's not even visible, but you have 6 points in your plan of action that you thought about it using thinking, and linear thinking is only what you got. And then in reality, when you experience, you come here, you pass, and then at this step you stop. If you stop yourself because of your linear thinking and you say like, okay, I have to figure this out, so far you in step 2 discovered one problem that stopped you. But if you just keep going, this diagram could expand, even though you do not hit any of your 6 milestone targets or whatever, that you have 6 steps. Just because you explore this territory, you have a better understanding, and then you can easily gather some information of what are the things that in step 3 or step 4 or 5 or 6 you would encounter. And maybe there's, because of that number of it's like a network of what's not working, or you're testing things out, you may find a pattern that you can say like, oh, instead of going live like this, I could, next time I'll go live like this. I'm gonna put it on Instagram, and I'm gonna tell 2 of my friends that I know that would be interested in. I'm going to choose a topic. Now I know all of these things. The lighting kind of works. The fact that the lens is wide is really helps to set the atmosphere, because now it actually shows. Previously I was like having that white, not speaking about anything emotionally background, but now you get the vibe. So you understand like, oh, from this environment we have certain topics that we can discover, and certain topics that we can talk about each other again next times you're gonna be there alive typing or something, and say, hey, I have a question, and I think I want to set up a Zoom on the side as well as the YouTube channel. I think, see, that's already another area that I find, because that's how it's done. Probably, I think that's a good idea for now to try. But prior to this, maybe I would have thought about it differently. If I say like, oh, when I want to go live, maybe I need to think about having glass of water, maybe, the topic. Oof, can I even read this quote nicely in a good way? Oh, so many things. But now, in reality, I realize so many other things that, like, oh, maybe I need to warm myself up a little bit, have a talking ritual before going live, that has a topic and warms me up a little bit so I can be in my optimal state of more on the social side and more verbal side rather than working quietly behind the desk or having different type of meetings on the Zoom. I have to be now in a mode that I'm talkative, that I'm social, that I bring those qualities out. And these are all just observations that I'm just showing behind the scene, because I wish the architects and that I loved were showing these type of behind the scene of the process and not diagrammatic explanations of the final project, because I think that's more interesting. Anyways, but that's architecture. Anyways, you can gather a better data when you allow yourself to not strictly follow the setup that linear thinking approves. Now, that could be your own thinking, and sometimes it's nowadays it's just you use Chat GPT or Gemini or Claude or Grok or what are out there, Claude, to as a soundboard. Anyways, the ones that are appealing to our thinking mind are the ones that we hear and we accept them. And that's even if you say, ChatGPT, give me two options of whatever and whatever, the part that we choose the two answers from from AI chatbot, would be the ones that you finally actually think that you like. And it's more on the thinking side specifically. But if you allow more of your creativity into it and allow for a little bit of exploration, a little bit of aimlessness, you may feel that you are not hitting the objective, you're not hitting the goal, you're not progressing, because you see it and perceive it and analyze it linearly, because you rely too much on your thinking. Everybody, um, I know all of us, we rely too much on our thinking, and sometimes when we rely on our intuition, sometimes the problem with that is that choosing wrong examples, and we have to listen to our gut, listen to our I think this is a 2026 thing for me, that listen to the gut more often, but only in the areas that I have gathered enough, way more than enough um, reference experiences. If I have two experiences of something, my intuition is like very low quality intuition. But if I had deal with the with something for hundreds of time, then my guts, my intuition, everything related to the unconscious reasoning and the stories behind it resonates more with you. That's where trusting your intuition would be good. And you build your intuition by exploring in this haphazard way around the direction that you want to go. So that would be the analogy of the kite. So there is one thought, and you create higher resolution, more details to the same exact point of the thought. So the thought becomes more creative. You explore, you have more spotlight. But if you follow that little straight line, it becomes a little bit stale, and you only can you steal yourself from the the high quality resolution understanding of the line that you're crossing, and that only happens if you, by definition, not by definition but graphically, if you want to have a little, if this is the logical line, you can determine like how much bandwidth of up and down and deviation from the logical line you would allow yourself, like how much creatively you can go outside of this line. You create a boundary, like a buffer. It becomes a bandwidth of exploration, and in that bandwidth you understand what's up. Like for example, now I have a better understanding how it feels to go live. Now I have a better understanding how it would be that the intention of it is going live without no audience. It's just like a first time that you want you're gonna do an open mic, either comedy or either it is, I don't know, music, performance, poetry, it could be anything, and nobody's there. But but it is strongly advised, not strongly, oh, it is strongly recommended that you go through the whole set. If you had 10 songs to play, you're gonna go for 10 songs, and maybe by the half part of your 10th song, all of a sudden 3 people show up to listen to your song, and they say like, oh my god, Jimi Hendrix, what's up with this guy? Hey, where are you playing next time? So creativity allows you to stay in that line and be a little bit in the bandwidth, whereas linear thinking just holds you on those steps. And one downside of getting lost in our heads and our logical thinking only is that sometimes that you want to deal with some issues, and those solutions to, let's say you have to deal with issue X, you put it here, big X, you have to deal with this, and you go in your head and you go in and you think, you use logic, think to solve this X problem you use here. So there is this connection, and then you realize, oh my god, all this thing, maybe somebody makes you realize, gives you a point of view from the outside that this problem is not solvable with thinking. But imagine all that effort that you had, not effort, sorry, all that time and in depth that you were in your thoughts, because that would have been an extra force doing like the square peg, like you wanted to solve something that is not solvable by mind, but since you're using your mind to solve it, you go inside of your head, then your thoughts become heavier and heavier and heavier, and your imagination help to make the already heavy thoughts bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you cannot handle the weight that this pressure is caused by the thoughts that you have based on nothing, based on no actual external thing, but you want your CPU to do something that your GPU should do. You want to calculate something that needs to be painted. Oh, this is a good example. Same as CPU, GPU. You want to calculate, you want to use a calculator to calculate and find the result of a painting and the painting, the painting, the act of painting, and receiving a painting. So the same way that you put and you use calculator, you use painting to get the painting. You cannot use calculator to get paint. Am I being crazy? Maybe in this thing, see, like the distance is far, so you don't see. Like I'm trying to be playing it a little bit. It's just, you get it. Da-da-da. So in your head, it becomes such a big problem, and you feel it like infinitely heavy. Infinitely heavy. There you go. That's a better pronunciation. You feel it infinitely heavier because with your imagination, you can exaggerate on any aspect that is making it bigger and heavier. And you end up creating scenarios that are not real. And you allow the thinking to stop you from taking action. And that's no good. And that's no good. So sometimes we're not taking action, and or we're stopping the action because we just rely on thinking. But you could start doing things with other other parts, such as following the creative, zigzag, random, haphazard line of activities relying on creativity, just to explore a little bit more, just to see what happens. It feels like a waste, but in reality, you're having a better, higher resolution of where you're exploring. And just relying on thinking, how should I say this thing? Maybe I keep looping because I feel like it's kind of important, so I want to try say it differently, but I don't know if I'm saying it differently or not. So based on that, we're gonna read another quote. No, the really alive person is a here person. Oh no, the really alive person is a here now person. He does not live out of the past. He does not live for the future. He lives only in the moment. Only in the moment. For the moment. The moment is all. Oh my God. And that's why you live in the moment. Don't let your logic stop you from following, if it all that made sense. Because my logic would have not made this happen. This is really odd that somebody's watching until now, but for that person, thank you for watching, I guess. But it happened. I learned a lot by just doing this that had almost zero fruit. And with that, I just wanted to say hi. That would be the setting of going live. Wow. Welcome to randomness, complete chaos, with yellow glasses, with the sweater and white shoes. This is, who would be a really good, Howard Stern would have had this podcast running well. It's like, hey, welcome to AMA with Ali Mohebali. This is not Howard Stern. I'm not imitating Howard Stern. I'm just following every word that comes out. Balls, soccer, green, purple, field, zoomed out. This reminds me of anything bucketheady. Oh, this is the style of buckethead. I think so. For people who know who's buckethead, this is the style of buckethead. And you just improvise. And with improvisation, I totally forgot. So this, the topic was that you just hit the record and see where it goes. Because you want to commit to taking that action. The sooner you do it, the better you're going to understand it. The sooner you do it, the better you understand it, the more clear it gets. The sooner you do it, you better understand it, the more clear it gets. You can solve newly found problems. And when all of that happens, you're going to do a way better job. And it is only when you took the action and found out. Like, what if there has been interaction behind the scene and I clicked something somewhere that I didn't see because I saw some notifications popping on and off? What was it? I don't know. And then it might be lesson learned. Maybe keep the chat on the side. Maybe. I don't know. It could have happened. But if I stopped, I'd like, okay, it works. We could go live. I would have never explored. So hit that start. Put yourself in taking committed action regardless of what it is. How stupid it is, how silly it is, how unprepared you are, how unknowledgeable you are, how inexperienced you are, how fundamentally inadequate you think that you are. Just remove that and say like, okay, what can I do? You can go here, just type, and you learn that, oh, you can actually put the up thumbnail. Oh, I can actually do this. Maybe now that I know my setup is like this, I can do, you explore together. You and I, we could explore the 0% over there, where everything goes. And where everything goes is where everything goes. It's just like the river. And it goes to a lake. No, I'm just being silly. So take action. Identify the parts that stopped you. Sometimes it's from fear. And sometimes it's actually from care and love. This is what I previously wanted to point out. Because some parts of you tries to save you. Because when you were 7, you did something, and it's better to act without taking action. Because when you did it at 7 years old, it didn't go well. So some parts of you wants to save you from taking action. It's like, oh, if you take this action, it is risky. What happens if so-and-so watches you online and see how many mistakes you make? And your English is kind of broken sometimes, and we don't understand what's going on. Right? What's going on? We don't know what's going on. What are you talking about? The line of thoughts is so random. It goes anywhere, from left to right, from cold to yellow to purple. I don't know where it goes. Does it have some ring of somebody that you know? Maybe this is somebody that I'm impersonating really, really bad. Have you ever thought about it? And you say like, oh my God, this randomness is interesting. But sometimes, because of something, he says something that makes sense. This sometimes because of something that he says something that makes sense has around 46 S's. I guess. And I guesstimate. And that is 2 more extra. 2 more extra. And doing that extra step is actually really good. It helps get that higher resolution. And this higher resolution is so good. Honestly. And that's how he was earlier saying. Osho, that like, oh, stop thinking. Just do it. like Nike style. But maybe sometimes that just do it is too big for you. Just slow it down, make it smaller, make it easier. Whatever stops you, sometimes it is good to find out what it is, because as we discussed, it is either something that is protecting you or is it some sort of fear. Oh, and sometimes interesting. And sometimes it is really good for you to find out what it is exactly that you can fix it, right? And sometimes it's just like just you have the symptoms. Imagine for now you you solve the root cause and just go for the healing this of the symptom, so to say. That is, without finding why, what stops you, try to shrink the action taking to a very small version of it. Make it doable. There is a version of it that is actionable. It's more than nothing. It might be very small, very tiny, 0.0000005% progress towards the direction that you want, but it's, as mathematically nerdy guy would may say, like, that is infinitely bigger than zero, right? And without solving the root cause, just like put yourself in that direction. Maybe that gives you a little bit of more clarity on the root cause. So now you have both benefits simultaneously. So taking action and implementing stuff in real world is really, really interesting. And as they say, know thyself so you know what to put out and what to expect from the outside. And with that, this long test, I think it's good time to call it a day. And welcome to the Zeta test that we executed. As one of my idols, Seth Godin, says, you have to do your work and publish it. This is really raw, and I was just jibber jabbering. Is it a thing? Yapping about randomness for a good amount of time just to see how it is reacting. Let me see how long we've been going. How it is. If there's a new thing that I have to... Ooh, 44 minutes. Oof. 44 minutes. It's been a pleasure. Oh, comment Jack of Diamond because of the song Desert. Is it? No. By Sting. Jack of Diamond, if you're one of those rarest people who's been here. Otherwise, this was something to set the record and start without thinking about the result, without allowing that quality of result stops me from taking the action and moving forward. It was nothing more than just a test. Therefore, I... what is that InDesign thing that you ipsum lipsum, that it feels text? Ipsum lipsum, lorem ipsum, lipsum ipsum. That thing. I did that in the video and audio format. It's something that is fun. And let's see how is it going to be. How is it going to be? So if you've been listening to this, I have a really bad news and really good news for you. If you've been listening to this until now, not only you're gonna jack of heart, jack of diamond, you're gonna do jack of diamond, but The good news is, if you watched until now, you're gonna watch another one very soon, and then they're actually going to be good, because this is just a test. It's just one, two, three, one, two, three. We're just testing. If you like whatever, oof, good news. It's gonna be fun. And it's bad news if you have watched so far that you lost 45 minutes of your life. Wow. Wow. And with that, go have a new go have a go have a great new year. Welcome to preloaded 2026. Have a good year. And we're gonna stop streaming because this was a success, and the endorsement phone calls are ringing apparently in the control room. And that's all. And with that, chaos amigos. We're gonna see you in the next Ask Me Anything with yours truly, Ali Mohebali. Next time. Ciao. A domani. Stop streaming, per favor.